ready to dive into the world of powerful dogs. We're talking Cane Corsos and Dobermans today. You've probably got like 20 tabs open right now comparing photos,
Oh, yeah, I bet.
maybe even arguing with your partner about which breed's the one to bring home. Well, buckle up, because we've got an expert here to help us navigate all the details and make a smart decision. So let's kick things off with a little history lesson here.
Yeah.
Did you know both of these breeds have roots going way back?
Oh, yeah, centuries.
Really? Like, how far back are we talking?
I mean, think Roman Empire for the Cane Corso.
Well, seriously. Roman Empire?
No kidding. The Cane Corso, like the name kind of hints at it, it's got Italian origins.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
They were actually bred as war dogs back then.
Wow, that's kind of intimidating.
Right. Talk about a serious
Yeah.
guard dog.
Yeah.
And then later on, they transitioned into essential helpers on farms,
Makes sense.
guarding livestock property. You name it. Protections basically in their DNA.
So those guarding instincts we always hear about, that's literally woven into their history. That's fascinating. Okay, so what about the Doberman? Where do they come into the picture?
Well, the Doberman's a bit of a newcomer compared to that. Developed in Germany, late 19th century.
Oh, wow, so much later.
Yeah, a tax collector named Carl Friedrich Louis Doberman.
Okay, so that's where the name comes from.
You got it. He needed a dog to protect him on his rounds.
That's smart.
So he basically handpicked traits from different breeds to create, the courageous and loyal dog we know today.
That's so cool. So both breeds have these guardian roots, but they took such different paths to get there. And those paths have shaped not just their personalities, but just look at them. Even in a photo, you can see the differences, right? Cane Corso, that powerful presence, almost majestic. And then the Doberman, sleek, athletic.
For sure.
Yeah.
Picture the Cane Corso as this massive, muscular guardian.
Right.
And the Doberman, more like a finely tuned athlete built for speed, agility. Their coats are totally different, too.
Yeah, they are.
The Cane Corso has that short, dense coat that comes in a bunch of colors.
Yeah.
But the Doberman typically has that glossy, smooth coat. Black, red, blue fawn with those rust markings.
Yeah, those rose markings are so striking.
Eh.
And their head shapes are so different, too. The Cane Corso has that broad, square head, just screams protector. But the Doberman's got a longer, wedge-shaped head, almost noble-looking.
You nailed it. And those physical differences really do reflect their personalities, too.
Okay, so let's talk about temperament. We know they're both known for being great guard dogs, but how do their approaches differ?
Well, both are super loyal and protective, but their guarding styles are totally unique. Cane Corsos are naturally wary of strangers. They kind of take a wait-and-see approach,
Interesting.
like assessing the situation before reacting. It's like they've got this built-in radar always scanning for threats.
So not the type to bark at every squirrel that runs by.
Exactly. They're discerning protectors. Now, Dobermans, on the other hand, are known for their unwavering devotion to their families.
Yeah, Velcro dogs, right.
Yeah, exactly. Always by your side, showering you with love. But don't mistake that for weakness. If they sense a threat to their loved ones, they'll spring into action instantly.
I heard stories about Dobermans being super intuitive about their owner's emotions, too. Like they can sense when you're feeling down. Is there any truth to that?
Oh, there's definitely a deep connection there. They're super attuned to their humans and can be incredibly sensitive to your mood. It's part of what makes them such special companions.
That's amazing. So it's like having a furry bodyguard who's also your best friend. But let's be real, all that loyalty and protection probably means they need a bit more management than your average lapdog, right?
You're not wrong. Both breeds are crazy intelligent and capable. But that intelligence needs an outlet. They need good training and socialization to make sure they're well-adjusted, happy companions.
That makes perfect sense. You can't just expect a dog with that much power and drive to automatically know how to behave in our human world.
Nope, definitely not.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about the less glamorous but super important part of dog ownership health. We know both Cane Corsos and Dobermans, like a lot of larger breeds, share some common health concerns.
You got it. Hip dysplasia, for one. It's a joint issue that can cause pain and mobility problems. It's something to be aware of with both broods.
Yeah, it's tough to see a dog struggle with that.
Yeah.
And I've also heard about bloat being a concern, especially at those deep chests they both have.
Oh, absolutely. Bloat is serious. It can be life-threatening if it's not treated right away. It happens when the stomach twists, cutting off blood flow. And it's more common in large, deep-chested breeds like these guys.
So that's something to watch out for. Are there any other health issues specific to one breed or the other?
Yeah, so Cane Corsos unfortunately have a shorter lifespan compared to Dobermans. About 9 to 12 years compared to the Doberman's 10 to 13.
Oh, wow, that is a noticeable difference.
Yeah, and they can also be prone to certain eye conditions like cherry eye and entropion.
Okay, and what about Dobermans? Anything specific potential owners should know about?
Dobermans have a higher risk of developing dilated cardiomyopathy. It's a serious heart condition that affects their ability to pump blood. Finding a responsible breeder who screens for this is absolutely crucial.
So for both breeds, finding a responsible breeder is non-negotiable, really, especially with those potential health concerns. Okay, I think we've laid some great groundwork here. We've covered their history, their looks, their personalities, and we touched on some important health considerations. Now, before we jump into training and really unpack what it takes to live with a Cane Corso or Doberman, and what you think about your lifestyle. Are you a marathon runner or more of a leisurely stroller? Do you need constant companionship or prefer a little more independence? Keep those questions in mind because we're diving deeper in part 2. All right, so we're back. And we're diving deeper into the world of Cane Corsos and Dobermans. And we talked about their history, those cool differences in their looks and personalities. And of course, we touched on the health stuff, which is always super important. But now let's get into training. I feel like there's this idea out there that a powerful dog needs a harsh training style, like that whole alpha dog thing. But I'm pretty sure our expert's going to set us straight on that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That old school alpha dog stuff, it's outdated and it just doesn't work. Cane Corsos and Dobermans are super smart, sensitive dogs. They respond way better to positive reinforcement. Clear communication, building trust and respect. That's the key.
So ditch the yelling and intimidation tactics. I'm totally on board with that. But what does positive reinforcement actually look like when you're training?
It's all about rewarding those good behaviors, with positive interactions like praise treats or even their favorite toy. And just as important, you got to avoid punishing them for doing something wrong.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Instead, you redirect their attention to something more appropriate. Give them a better option.
So it's more about teaching them what WE want them to do instead of just punishing them for what they're doing wrong.
Gotcha. But we mentioned earlier that Cane Corsos can be a bit more independent. Does that make them tougher to train than Dobermans? It's not necessarily tougher, but it definitely takes more patience and consistency. Remember, they were bred to guard livestock for centuries. They had to think for themselves, make decisions on their own. So they're not always going to be as eager to please as a Doberman. Dobermans are wired to work closely with their humans.
That's fascinating. So it's almost like they have this internal compass guiding them.
Yeah.
And we have to learn to work with that, right?
Exactly. With a Cane Corso, you might not get that instant gratification of them hanging on your every word, like you might with a Doberman. But with patience and consistency, you can build a really strong bond and train them to be awesome, well-behaved companions.
Okay, so for someone who's new to dog training or maybe a little intimidated by the idea of training a powerful breed, would a Doberman be a better place to start?
They can be a really good choice for first-time owners who are serious about training. They're eager to please, and they're naturally athletic, so they learn quickly. They actually enjoy the mental and physical challenge of training. But you got to remember, every dog is an individual. You could get a Cane Corso who's a star student or a Doberman who's a little more stubborn. You never know.
So true. It's not just about the breed. It's about that specific dog's personality and how you connect with them. Now, we touched on socialization earlier, but I think it's worth digging a little deeper, especially with breeds that have a reputation for being protective. What are some key things potential owners should know about socializing a Cane Corso or a Doberman?
Early and consistent socialization is super important for both breeds. It's all about exposing them to lots of different people, places, sounds, and experiences from when they're puppies. You want them to learn that the world is a safe, interesting place, and that new things aren't something to be scared of or aggressive towards.
So it's about building their confidence and teaching them how to handle different situations. What are some things people can do to socialize their puppies specifically?
Puppy classes are a great place to start. They provide a safe, controlled environment for puppies to interact and learn basic obedience. And enrolling in a group obedience class later on can be really helpful too. But it's not just about formal training. Everyday stuff like walks in the park, trips to pet-friendly stores, even having friends and family over to meet your puppy can make a big difference.
So it's about making socialization a part of their daily routine, not just a once-a-week thing.
Exactly. The more positive experiences they have early on, the better. They'll be more likely to grow into well-adjusted, confident dogs who can handle anything.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, speaking of handling situations, I'm curious about their suitability for families. Are these breeds generally good with kids?
Both Cane Corsos and Dobermans can be amazing family dogs. But it's really important to remember that any large, powerful breed needs careful supervision and training, especially around little kids.
Right? No matter how gentle and loving a dog might be, you have to set everyone up for success. be responsible and proactive.
For sure. We need to teach kids how to interact respectfully with dogs. No grabbing ears or tails. And never ever leave young children unsupervised with any dog. Doesn't matter the breed.
That's such important advice for any dog owner, but especially with larger, more powerful breeds. Okay, so let's say someone has done their research, they're committed to training and socialization, and they've decided a Cane Corso or a Doberman is the breed for them. Where do they even start looking for their perfect match?
That's a great question, and it brings us to responsible breeding. Finding a breeder who puts the health and well-being of their dogs first is absolutely essential.
So how do you know if a breeder is truly responsible? What are some red flags to look out for?
A lot of people ask that, and it's a good question. A responsible breeder will be open about their breeding practices, happy to answer all your questions. They'll invite you to their home or kennel to meet the parents of the puppies and see how the dogs are raised.
So no shady back alley deals or puppies being shipped from who knows where.
Definitely not. A reputable breeder wants to meet you face-to-face and make sure you're a good fit for one of their puppies. They'll also give you all the details about the puppy's health history, including any genetic testing that's been done.
And speaking of health testing, we talked about some breed-specific health concerns earlier. Are there specific tests potential owners should ask about?
Absolutely. For both Cane Corsos and Dobermans, you'll want to ask about hip and elbow scores. Those are evaluations of their joints to check for dysplasia. And for Dobermans, it's crucial to ask about testing for dilated cardiomyopathy. Early detection is key for managing that condition.
So important to know that those tests exist. I think a lot of people might not even realize they should be asking. But what if someone's not looking for a puppy? What about rescuing a Cane Corso or a Doberman?
Rescuing is a fantastic option. It can be incredibly rewarding. There's so many amazing dogs out there just waiting for loving homes. And rescue organizations can give you great insights into a dog's personality and history, help you find the perfect match. Just keep in mind that rescue dogs often come with their own needs. So be prepared to be patient, understanding, and maybe do a little extra training.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from training tips to socialization advice and the ins and outs of responsible breeding. It's clear that bringing a Cane Corso or a Doberman into your life is a big commitment. But with the right knowledge, preparation, and a whole lot of love, these powerful breeds can be the most loyal, loving companions you can ask for. So before we head to part 3, where we'll dive into some real-life scenarios and help you make that final decision, I want you to think about everything we've discussed. Are you ready for the challenges and rewards that come with owning one of these amazing dogs? We'll be back to help you figure that out. Oh, we come. So we're back for the final round of our Cane Corso versus Doberman deep dive. And I feel like we've really gotten to know these breeds, their history, their looks, their personalities, and of course all the practical stuff that comes with having a powerful dog in your life. But the big question is, which one's right for me?
That's the question, isn't it? And there's no easy answer. It all comes down to you, your lifestyle, where you live, your experience with dogs, and what you're looking for in a companion.
So it's not as easy as saying, if you're active, get a Doberman. If you're chill, get a Cane Corso.
Nope, not at all. It's way more complicated than that. We got to look at all the pieces of the puzzle.
Okay, so let's picture this. You love going on long hikes with your dog, maybe even agility training or running. Would a Doberman be the obvious choice?
Well, their athleticism and energy definitely make them a good fit for people who are active, whether it's individuals or families. They love physical and mental challenges. So yeah, those hikes, agility courses, running, they'd be all over it. But remember, a bored Doberman can get into trouble.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
So keeping them mentally stimulated with training and games is just as important as the physical stuff.
So it's like they need a job to do, even if that job is being your adventure buddy.
Yeah.
But what if you're more into like cozy nights by the fireplace, leisurely walks, and a dog who just chills with you at home? Would a Cane Corso fit that kind of lifestyle better?
Their calmer nature and lower energy might seem perfect for someone who's more laid back. And while they do enjoy those chill activities, don't forget they still need exercise and mental stimulation.
So even if you're not running marathons with your Cane Corso, you still need to commit to those daily walks playtime, and maybe some training or puzzles to keep their minds sharp.
Exactly. And don't underestimate mental stimulation for both breeds. They're smart dogs. They need to use their brains. Whether it's training puzzle toys or just including them in your daily routine, keeping them mentally challenged can really prevent boredom and all those unwanted behaviors.
That's a great point. It's easy to focus on the physical stuff, but mental needs are super important, especially for these intelligent breeds. Now, we've talked a lot about matching your lifestyle and activity level, but what about all those other little things that people sometimes forget, like grooming, shedding, drooling? those quirks that can sometimes be deal breakers.
Oh yeah, those are important. The good news is both Cane Corsos and Dobermans have pretty low maintenance coats. Just a weekly brush is usually enough to keep their fur looking good. They do shed, though.
Ah, so maybe not the best choice for someone who's obsessed with a spotless house?
Yeah, probably not. You might want to invest in a good vacuum.
And what about the drool? Some breeds are known for leaving slobber everywhere.
Neither of these guys is really known for excessive drooling, so you're probably safe from those slimy surprises.
That's good to know. I think we've covered pretty much everything you need to know to decide which breed is right for you. But before we say goodbye, I want to leave you with this thought. Choosing a dog is about so much more than breed characteristics or lifestyle. It's about finding a companion who truly connects with you. A dog who fits into your life and brings you joy every single day.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So do your research, find reputable breeders or rescue organizations, spend time with both breeds if you can, and most importantly, listen to your heart. When you find the right dog, you'll know.
And that connection, that bond you'll share, will be worth every bit of effort. Thanks so much for joining us for this Cane Corso versus Doberman deep dive. We hope you learned a lot and maybe even feel a little inspired. Until next time, happy dog loving.